Hi students, today we're at the radial arm saw. Now the radial arm saw is kind of an older style of a machine that has this big arm to allow us to cut nice wide pieces of wood here in our shop. We can cut up to about 15 inches wide on the wood here in the shop on what we do. The radial arm saw is a crosscut saw, so it is designed to only cut across the grain on our pieces. So let's look at our piece here. We've gone through the planer, joiner, table saw to get 4 of our 6 sides taken care of. Now we're going to come in and we're going to do a couple operations to do a cleanup cut and then to cut it to length. Now as far as the safety goes on the radial arm saw, first thing is it's got a 6-inch margin of safety. So you need to stay 6 inches away from the blade and the path of the blade. Here in a moment I'll rotate the camera so you can actually see me cutting a little bit better. But I've got this really red zone in here, and that's the never put your hands zone. So while that blade is running, we never want to get our hands in there at all in that zone where it's sitting there behind the fence. But as you bring the blade out, now we got to worry about the path of the blade. And so we got some big red lines as some safety zones just to keep your hands out of while that blade is moving. So on the radial arm saw, we're doing a crosscut operation. You're going to understand we got these basic things that we need to follow. First of all, it is designed with a big hump. You're going to work on one side of it and put your left hand on the saw, your right hand handing the board, or you're going to come around to the other side. And on the other side, you're going to have your right hand running the saw and the left hand on the board. And that way your arms are not being crossed. So on the radial arm saw, we don't want to cross our arms. And that'll keep us safe from getting our arms across the blade. Now as we cut it, I'm going to turn it on, let it come up to full speed, and I'm going to take off just a little bit for a cleanup. Alright, to make your cleanup cut on the radial arm saw, we're going to start here on the right hand side of the blade. You're going to take it and you're going to put it flat against the table and tight against the fence. So if the board isn't flat and have a straight edge, then we shouldn't be cutting it on the radial arm saw. You're going to come up over in here and you've got the kerf slot. You're going to put it about halfway in on that kerf slot. You're going to turn on the blade. As we turn it on, we need to let it reach full speed. And then we're going to go ahead and make our cut. Now the best way to say this is we want to control that blade. So we want to go through with a firm grip and a steady feed. Not too fast, but definitely controlling the blade. And then we'll switch over to the other side to make the other cut. So this is a user view from the left-hand side. So I'm over here on the right-hand side. Cleanup cut, move over here to the left-hand side. Here I've got a stop set up. I'm going to set it to 13 inches. Lock it in place so this piece will be 13 inches long. Here I got to hold it between the stop and the blade. So I make sure I'm tight to the table, tight to the fence, tight to the stop. Each time I run the radial arm saw, bringing it forward, I bring it forward just enough to cut through the end of the board and then return it back behind the fence before I move any of these pieces around. I use a scrap piece to get the little scraps out of the way so my fingers are never within this never go range right in this area here. So to finish up with the radial arm saw, my board needs to be flat. It can't be round because the blade won't allow us to cut safely anything that is round. Board has to be flat with a flat edge. I got a 6-inch margin of safety. I got to stay out of the never go zone, and these got to have my hands behind these safety zones when I'm actually using the saw. I bring the blade out to barely cut through the wood, and then I push it back in. And then I'll slide through and change my hands. I never want to cross my arms on this machine as we're cutting on the machine here. I control the blade with a firm grip and I take it slow to cut through the wood. It can cut through lots of different types of wood, lots of different thicknesses of wood. You've just got to go much slower on some than on others. And that's something we're going to coach and teach you as you use the machine on the way through. So the radial arm saw is a crosscut saw, and now we've taken care of all of our sides of our boards.